to Bizchicks TV. We're here to help you take the hassle out of your hustle so you can build a profitable business that's fun to run. Here are your hosts.
Thank you, Brittany. Today is Tuesday. Welcome to Bizchicks TV. Today, the digital diva is in the house.
Hey.
Terry Johnson online, all the way from New York City, right here, right now, with our marketing talks that we do once a week. We want to welcome you who are watching live and those who are watching on the replay. Welcome. TJ, take it away. And what do you got for us today?
Oh, we got some numbers back to the data. So, it's July and I didn't even think about it. I was like, oh, it's been half of the year going by. So what is happening? So we need to talk about what is happening with social media this year, 2025. So what's happening with social media now? And it's some interesting things. So let's take a look at this article that I found from Sprout Social, and they're doing a survey. So we want to talk a little bit about it. So let me bring it up on the screen. I will put the link in. Let me get to sharing the screen. And here we go. All right, so let's do that. Now let me get back over to you guys so we can see. So can we see that? Is everything okay? Because I'm getting something weird.
Yes, we can see it, and it may look black over
Yeah,
your
that
stuff.
okay. That's what I was like. It looks weird. So I'll just go over
Yeah,
to the tab.
and we can see it.
Okay, good. So this is Sprout Social. Sprout Social is social media management, a tool that you use for social, managing social media accounts. They have a blog. Most of them do. Lots of great information. So this one is from June 4th. And this is the state of social media in 2025. They had a latest pulse survey, and there's some good stuff in here. So I'm just going to read a little bit about what this is. They're saying this is at Sprout, we're constantly checking in with audiences and social marketers to understand what's landing in today's social landscape, what's falling flat, and whether brands really need to concern themselves with the latest form of brain rot. So I'm assuming they're trying to be cute and say, all the information that's coming out. Our recent Q2 2025 pulse survey of over 2,000 social media users across the US, UK, and Australia. So they looked at a bunch of issues from which emerging platforms are piquing audiences' attention and why, to what people really think it means for brands to be bold on social. So what they found is they found out what motivates social media users to try new platforms. I thought this was interesting. And they're saying that Sprout's latest data shows that social users are most eager to increase their time on community-based platforms like Reddit, and they're saying Reddit more than Blue Sky or Mastodon. Now, we talked about Blue Sky when it first came out, and everybody remember the rush. Everybody rushed over to Blue Sky from Twitter. Oh, well,
Right.
I call it Twitter. It's X now, but Twitter was this great thing, and it turned into X, which was not so great. So everybody know the reason why. I'm not gonna talk about, but there's been wave after wave of a wave of people leaving because it's not a great experience. So then Blue Sky came out, which is like, hey, we're kind of like the Twitter experience that you love from the past. Come on over. Plus, it is a part of the Fediverse, which means that your data, you can pretty much pack it up and go wherever you need to go. And Mastodon is another one of those Fediverse apps where it's that one's a little bit different, where you have to know where to go. Blue Sky pretty much said, hey, we're going to build you a Twitter like home. Come on over here. There's not much you have to do, and it's going to feel familiar. Okay, so then I forgot when this was last year. I forgot the date. I have to look it up. But everybody ran over to Blue Sky, and I was like, okay, yeah, we're gonna run over there, but it's not going to take off. And so here we are. Maybe it's been a year? I'm not sure the date. It could have been a year. Because I really
It,
did not.
it's it, it's
Go ahead.
been about it's been about a year because I haven't been on it. I hadn't even
See,
it
I
has
have.
not come to mind to even go over there. I was like, oh, Blue Sky, totally forgot that I had that account.
Right. And see, everybody, because they built it to look like it was the Twitter experience that you love. And I always talk about app fatigue, getting people to install a new app. I don't care how great it is, and that it's the Twitter experience. Twitter was Twitter. Twitter's dead. I've let go. But there are other people that haven't for a myriad of reasons. But I'm not saying that I'm looking for Blue Sky's downfall, but it's not going to be this Twitter. It's not going to be this mass adoption thing because we've left that area of social media. If you understand what I'm saying, when Facebook came, Facebook has the most users, whether they're active or inactive. They have the most accounts, the 2.34 billion people. No, there's no app today that's going to get that much anymore because we've changed the way we use social media from when Facebook became a thing in, I want to say, 2007. I'm bad with dates today. I'm trying to remember the date, but it's been a while, almost 20 years. We don't use social media the same way we used it and when Twitter was very a good thing. Because I remember it was the Miracle on the Hudson, they call it, when the plane landed here on the Hudson River and people just could not believe it. And the only person that was like a reporter style to actually capture the moment was somebody on Twitter on one of the boats, on one of the rescue boats. A person, a guy, wasn't a report. He was there with his phone, couldn't believe what he saw, so he recorded it or took a picture of people standing on a plane in the middle. It's a river, guys, it's a river. So he took a picture, put it on Twitter, and it was like everybody went like, you know. So
Hmm.
we kind of like don't use it that way anymore for breaking news. There is breaking news, but social media has
But
kind of broken off into communities.
right, but
Uh,
you talked about this a couple of years ago that everybody was going to go to wherever they felt comfortable, gather over here with these
mhm.
people or gather over here with these people and
Private groups.
private groups. So Facebook came out in 2004
Right.
of July.
Okay. 2004. So then 20 years, 21 years, almost. This, yeah, 21 years this
Right.
year.
So it's 21 years old this year.
That's pretty old. So,
And yeah.
but
And
you can see what I'm saying, right? We don't use it the same way. We don't.
no, we do not.
So,
And it wasn't for everybody. It was for a community of people at a university. It
yes.
was not meant for the masses at that time.
Yes, because it was started by Mark Zuckerberg. He was in college at the time, and it was a college thing. And you had to have a .edu email account, which was from a college or university.
Hmm.
You could not join up with any other because it was for college kids. That's how it started. So look at that. Look at where we are now. So there's been a lot of changes. I just wanted to bring it up because that was like for me, that's when Twitter took off because I was on it or people were on it. Early adopters were on it and we were using it, but it really wasn't this mass thing because I remember news programs and news shows and TV shows was like join us on Twitter, follow us on Twitter. They don't do that anymore because well, where we are. But that Hudson on the River photo kind of that was like it just exploded because you don't get the news from Twitter now. We did. We don't anymore. We get it from different places. But before that moment, the news was the news. You turned on the TV and got the news.
Right.
That Hudson on the River thing with the plane and that kind of broke it open to where, hey, we get everything on one of the social media accounts, which happened to be Twitter at the time. But we don't use it that way anymore. It's a lot different. And I think I called it Periscope marketing. I don't know why I called it that. Well, I did, because a periscope is for the submarine. You don't see the submarine, but it sends up the periscope because it has to see and communicate and all that. So it sends up this little thing, this little pipe thing, and it turns around and it surveys the top of the ocean, but it never rises unless it's ready to come out of the water. But I kind of felt like it was doing that because things were happening with Facebook groups where people were going in and saying hateful things, because birds of a feather flock together. So if I'm in a group and people are say racial stuff or hateful stuff or something against a community, I feel kind of safe, because I'm like, hey, we're all together in this underground, below the surface Facebook group, and everybody in here feels like I do. But see, that's not true. So what was happening was a lot of things were happening where I think it was one of these groups where it was a community firefighter group or something, and one of the firefighters said something racial about the town or something in the town. Everybody agreed because we're all in this secret group. But there's people in there that say, hey, wait a minute, you're going too far. I don't agree with that. Screenshot, because they're in a Facebook group, so they screenshot it and went out with the periscope up to the public accounts and said, hey, this is what's happening in this group. People are saying racial stuff, hateful stuff, all that. So then there was a period when people were like doxing, where they were like, okay, you did something wrong. I'm going to find out where you live. I'm going to find out your employer. I'm going to complain. I'm going to send you to the news, and pretty much got people fired. So I remember that period where there was a lot of things going on, not just that firefighter one, but there was a lot of things going on in the groups where they thought they could speak freely about their hatred of something or someone or some group. But there's always people in there that's like, I don't agree with that. I'm in here, but you've gone too far. I'm going to screenshot what you done. They even went as far as to, you remember when Clubhouse was a thing? And well, Clubhouse is still a thing, but we were doing all the audio groups and people felt free to say things because you weren't supposed to record. But everybody always screenshots. Let's get that out of the way. Celebrities say things and they delete them real quick, but somebody is quick on the draw with a screenshot. Celebrities have gone in the Clubhouse and said things, people are recording because they thought, hey, nobody's going to, I'm in a private group. No one is going to out me, so to speak. But they get outed by saying something wrong or hateful or wrong or, something against society's norms. And it gets out into the public. So when I saw all that, I said, hey, people are not going to feel safe, because on top of that, you had the hate speech on Twitter. You had the not hate speech, the stalking. You had stalking and people doing all kind of things, stalking and doxing and hate speech. All of that was happening and people weren't feeling safe. And I said, well, okay, what do? You're not going to stop using social media. You're going to make a private group. So that's where we are now, where a lot of things are happening in a family WhatsApp group or a family that group. Doesn't have to be on Facebook. There's lots of places where communities are gathering around like-minded topics. It could be a family group. It could be an interest-based group. All of that because they feel dissatisfied with the use of social media because it's so public, right? So that's where I got it from. I was like, okay, this is happening. People really want to feel safe and they want their privacy. So if things are being attacked in the public, I'm going to take it to a private group. That's why I always say Snapchat is a thing, because that group of generational users, Gen X and Gen Alpha, they love that because there's privacy there. All right, so let me get back to this article. So they were talking about Reddit and then Blue Sky while we went over the Blue Sky, but they're saying that Blue Sky wasn't the big thing that it was. Reddit has mostly got in front of Blue Sky, so to speak.
They have. There's a lot more conversations happening on Reddit than there are on Blue Sky.
Yes.
And I'm in a couple of subreddits for golf
Yes.
and for our local basketball team.
Mm-hmm.
And you still need to check the information.
Yes, you have.
Just
We're
but
getting to that where we, that could be fake because we've got AI now. We've always had fake news. Remember that guy started out in 2016, fake news, fake. So it's been planted in our mind, some minds, the majority, that this is not real, or you have to double check. And Reddit has come along with that. And then I always say, remember, before Reddit, it was Google Plus. Google Plus was doing all of this, and nobody wanted it because they were still stuck in the friends and family feature of Facebook. So they were like, I don't want to talk to strangers. I don't want to be in a community of golfing or technology or this or art or jewelry. I don't want to be in it. But now we are. Now we do want to do birds of a feather flock together. Whereas I want to be in a group that's talking about golfing or sports or my favorite team or name an interest.
right. And it would be easier than what we do on YouTube, because YouTube you can still subscribe to your favorite people, but
Yes.
they're still not in one locale. You
Right.
understand what I mean? You got to
Right.
keep going.
There's not the community, but YouTube is working on that because they realize they need a community feature. That's why they have the community tab. That I think they turned it into posts, and then they made
Yes,
it to where the people inside of the community could talk, because before it was just the YouTube creator that could talk.
right.
When
And
I'm
it was
saying is
talking,
post, right,
yeah, it was
right,
talking out to the community,
yes. So now
but
it's
not, but you couldn't hear back.
right. So it's a back and forth now. So now if I go to somebody's, I'm calling it's communities, but it's I think it's pages, or I forgot what they call it. But now I can post something in that interest group. So YouTube is starting to realize, hey, we need the Twitter aspect, and I'm calling Twitter. I'm never calling it X. The Twitter, and when I say Twitter, I mean the good old days.
Hmm.
We need, because we would watch TV with Twitter. Like you would watch your favorite show. I remember Game of Thrones. Everybody watched Game of Thrones on Sunday, and you had your phone in one hand and you watched the TV, and you would or when they're on the air TV with the commercials. When the commercial came up, you went to Twitter, and you said you talked about the show. So we're again, we're not doing that anymore. But hey, things change. All right, so let me get back to. I want to get back to this because there's some more. So, and I'm reading the commentary on this article. It says, regardless of platform type, Gen Z and millennials are most likely to drive adoption. Male users are also more likely than female users to want to test these platforms. So I thought that was really interesting. And I've talked about Gen Z a lot because they drive the change. They make the changes happen. If you don't believe me, do you remember years ago when I did not text, but the kids were texting. They had what was the thing they had before the smartphone? They had the what's the little device? I'm trying to remember it. And they would text on it. It was before the iPhone came out. And then
Uh,
do you know what
I,
it is?
iPod
No,
Touch,
no, no, no. It was oh, it's
a
something with an
pager.
S. No, no, no. It's something with an S.
Oh, Sidekick.
Yeah, sidekick and all that. They were text with that. And it wasn't a phone. It was like a long thing, a long device. But it wasn't an iPhone because the iPhone wasn't out yet. They would text with that. And then when they started texting before the iPhone came out, with all of that, I remember here in New York, people would complain about, they would come out of the subway and stop on the steps and start texting and walking. They would walk the street like this and not look. And I was like, who in the heck is going to do that? I'm not texting anybody. I'm not doing that. But now, 2025, don't call me. You better text me, because that's the spot we're in now. But there was a time when we didn't text. There was a time when we didn't do this, that, and the other. All of that activity is driven by the young group. So back, I'm thinking this was the 90s. The Sidekick was out. I think it was the 90s or something. Late 90s.
Yeah,
So I guess
yeah.
those kids would now be millennial, I guess. I'm not sure of the grouping. I think they would be millennials now, but they are the ones that were doing it back then. I was like, I'm not gonna do any texting. Now it's like texting is it's like it's second nature. So what I'm saying is that the younger group, the younger generation always drives the adoption change. They always do that same thing with the emojis. Remember, there was a time we didn't use emojis. Now, Gen Alpha's like they don't want to use emojis. So things are always. What I'm saying is things are always changing. So I'm glad that they put that in there about Gen Z and millennials that they drive adoption. Okay, so now they're saying, but what's pushing people into new territory across demographics, consumers' primary motivation for trying new platforms, and when they already know people using them? So they want to get away from sponsored content and back to the essence of OG human to human social.
No.
That's here. And it's saying Gen Z is slightly more likely to be swayed if influencers they like already have a presence on the platform. So here's a little square that I want to talk about. It says, what motivates social media users to try new platforms? Number one, my friends and family are using it. That goes back to what I was saying earlier about the Periscope, the private community, the private group. That used to be Facebook. But remember, Gen Z, millennials, they don't like Facebook. We've said it time and time again. Facebook is 55, 50 and up. They love it. The younger kids, no. It's Snapchat. It's depending on their age. Snapchat or Instagram. I forgot about TikTok. But my friends are on it. My family uses it for the group chat. So that's where I am. If I'm not on there and I need to talk to my family, then they're like, the groups, the family groups that know what the kids like, they're not going to use Facebook. Other than that, they would use Facebook. They were like, oh, let's just talk on Facebook. The young kids are like, no, I'm not. No, you're gonna have to get on Snapchat, TikTok, or whatever. So grandma and grandpa is going to get on Snapchat because the kids are on it. So that's what number one is. My friends and family using it. Number two, I'm curious about unique features formats. Number three, I'm interested in niche communities or content topics. Back to Google Plus. They were
Yep.
so ahead of their time. I'm trying to remember when Google Plus came out. I can't even remember. It's been so long.
Yeah, but
I'll look it up. Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
um
I'm a
Google
Google
Plus
it.
was good.
Let me see.
I'm looking it up
Yeah, I'm
now.
looking it up. It was June 28th, 2011. Wow. Discontinued on April 2nd, 2019.
So it was
Um,
going for 5 years. It was
yeah.
good.
So here and here it is. I Google. Remember we talked about the AI overview for Google is giving me the AI overview. It says the key features were circles. I remember that you had
Yes.
different circles. You had a hangout. They had Sparks, location, and then they had Google does photos really well. Like if you want to have photo storage and all the tools to manipulate your photos, Google does that very well. But I remember the circles, and then they would do the things where they had went to communities where because the circle was kind of you could do private, like that was we're gonna have a circle talking about photography, we're gonna have a circle talking about golf, we're gonna have a circle talking about, and it could be in a location. So there was different circles and it was going like that. It sounds confusing, but it really made sense. And then they did the communities where it was a public circle where it was like having a page and you posted and everybody had a conversation. But it was really, really, it was ahead of its time. So we're talking 2011.
Maybe
And
they'll bring it back.
no, Google doesn't do that.
Well, they're trying it with the Google Glass.
Well, they will bring something back, but Google will not call it Google Plus. They will call it something else. Like Google
Okay.
Glass, they're gonna call it something else. They will, come around what they call splitting the block, bring it back, but they will. Okay, we're gonna call it something new. But
Yeah.
Google is ahead. Google Glass was a good example. People that had Google Glass, I remember there's a tech guy that I follow, and they clowned him and oh, you look crazy. But look now, look where we are now. So again, things change. This is about trends changing. Things change. Okay, so number 3 was I'm interested in niche communities or content topics. They weren't like that in 2011. Some of us were there already, but now they're all there now. Number 4, I want to break from traditional platforms. This ties into the story I was telling you about being in the private groups, feeling like birds of a feather flock together. I can talk about something amongst people who think like me. And I feel free and safe to say what I need to say. But somebody, a couple people went crazy with it, and you know, they got what they got. Number 5, I follow creators or influencers who are active on it. So here we are. Create a community, the influencers. This is why influencers get paid the money, because it's kind of like the Pied Piper. Like the influencer is saying this, that, and the other about a brand or a platform or name your thing. And if they can get people to follow them, the brand wants that. Well, if I can get in front of those people because of the influencer or the creator, then I'm going to do it. And number 6, I want to follow, interact with brands in a new way. Now, that one is at the end, and wonder why. Because people don't on social media I want to talk to Coca-Cola. I want to talk to Nike. Unless it's a customer service kind of thing where I have a problem and I want to talk to you on social media. Other than that, people are not there for that. That's why it's number 6. Number 1 is my friends and family are using it. My community is using it. My group is using it. We've talked about other apps where there was I think it was the Peanut app where was it pregnant women?
It was women at all stages of life.
Yes. Okay. So they had the Peanut app because if I'm in a certain stage of life as a woman, I want to talk to other women about it. I don't, and you're going, well, you could do that in a Facebook group. No, I can't, because the Facebook group could be joined by other people. And maybe I don't feel comfortable like that. It's the same reason why somebody might want to have a female doctor. Because I'm a female. I want to talk to a female doctor because that's just how I feel. There's no rhyme or reason to it. I mean, as far as why. It's just I can only say, and I keep saying it, birds of a feather flock together. It's the whole saying. But it's because you want to feel safe and talk about something that's not so safe. Or you don't want to be judged. Those kind of things. Okay. So does everybody get what's going on here with what Sprout Social is saying? Let me get this back up. So now they're saying there's a surprising twist on the personal impacts of social media. So they're having debates about social media impact on our well-being. Again, they're going back to saying social media is bad for the children, is bad for your mental health, and those things are true, but you have to learn how to use it in a way. And if you're a minor, that's why you have a parent, and we talked about that again. Why you're the parent, you paid for the device, why are you letting them, they're up 2 o'clock in the morning or 11 o'clock, whatever, when they're supposed to be asleep? You should take the device away. But we're not going to get into that. But that's what's going on. So they say most consumers, 60%, says social has had a positive effect on their mental health over the last 6 months, compared to only 18% who report a negative effect. Excuse me. More than half, 53%, say it's positively impacted their social lives. 47% feel it's improved their financial decisions. And then they put that, we've talked about this I call it edu-infotainment. They're calling it edutainment. There's a reason edutainment continues to top the list of content types audience seek out on social. People want to learn something new, and they want it delivered in a compelling way. See, here's the key. We're all on social media looking for the new, and especially if you're trying to get away from a life that's not so great, or a job that's not so great, or you're worried about the state of the government, all of those things that are going on externally. You run to social media because there's going to be a meme, a joke, a funny something, a cat video, a bird video, a this, a that. You see, it's all there. That's why they're saying edutainment. People want to learn something new, they want to see something new, but they want to deliver it in a compelling way. That means compelling. That means it draws them in. See, you can't just post something because, well, everybody's on social media and they're just going to love my. No, it has to be new, fresh, compelling. It has to get their interest. Okay. So they're saying 60 in this graphic, 60% of all social users say social media has had a net positive impact on their mental health over the last 6 months. And that's from the Q2 2025 Pulse survey. This is Sprout Social. So I thought that was interesting because there's all this talk about social media being bad, and it is for children because they're being let on. They're not being not restrained, but there's kind of like there's no barriers, and where there should be barriers because they're children. Really, they should be. But a lot of parents are expecting the social platform to be the parent, and that's not how it works. And then they get angry when things happen. Then they want to blame Facebook. They want to blame it. You can't. You're the parent. Whether it's social media, online or offline, you're the parent. In society, they're going to come in real life. If something happens, they're coming to get you. They're not going to blame the child because that's why they're called minor children. They're not going to blame the child. So same thing online, offline, and we've talked about this a lot. So what do we think about the social media wellness?
I think it is a thing because people are needing to connect and they may not connect with their neighbor. We don't talk to our neighbors next door, knocking on their door. Hey, Mildred, how you do? We don't do that.
Nope.
But you will talk to somebody in the same group that you're in.
Yes.
Or somebody online, like you might have a family group online and you talk to those people in the family group, or you talk to if you're a knitting group or whatever, you talk to them online from across the globe, not just in your community.
Right.
And so in some people do not have any other way of talking to people.
Exactly.
They're in their homes and they're not talking to anybody.
Right. But they can talk to somebody online because their children, their grandchildren, something has set up some kind of device for them to do so. And they're finding interest of, okay, I'm going to avoid the bad stuff. I'm just here to find a knitting group. And maybe there's somebody in Ireland. Maybe there's somebody in India. Maybe there's wherever. We're all in this community talking about knitting. The thing that I love. See?
Yeah.
I'm not on. And that was the thing, getting back to Reddit. Reddit has all of these places where there are communities for everything. Unfortunately, there's some bad things. And this is like going to grandma's house with what's the story? The Little Red Riding Hood. Grandma you got to get to grandma's house. You got to go through that forest.
And
you better walk fast and not look. And if the wolf come, you ignore the wolf. I don't see you. I'm going to grandma's house because grandma got the good stuff. Grandma got the cookies and she made some food and everything's good. But I got to go through this forest.
Yeah.
See, that's social media. I got to go through this forest. So you have to say, well, if I want to go to Reddit because there's some good conversations going on, real life. I'm in a lot of Reddits where there's marketing, small business strategy, everything. People are talking about their businesses. So when I go there, I'm like, okay, don't look, go. I'm going to there. And plus, Reddit is set up to where it will notify me of new posts in those subreddits communities. So I don't have to go, well, let me open up Reddit and then all that stuff. I don't want that. I don't want to see them. Like I said, I don't watch the news. News finds me. So if I go to Reddit and open up and look at the main feed, there's the news. I see whatever this guy is doing. I see whatever this, that, and the other. I'm like, I don't want that. I'm going to my community. So I go through the notifications. But that's what's happening. That's how we're using it. These places are, this huge, vast Reddit. There's a subreddit for anything. If your interest is not on Reddit, you start it. You
Right.
start it because you're gonna start it, and then once you start it, they're gonna come. They meaning the people that are interested in whatever your topic is.
Mm-hmm.
And here's the key. It doesn't have to be 100 million people in your subreddit. It could be 5. It could be 20. But guess what? You're in that subreddit and you are talking about the thing that you care about the most, that topic that you like to talk about. And like Fran said, there's people around the globe that are interested in that.
Yep.
But if you're not there, they're not there, and you guys can't talk. It doesn't have to be, I need 100 million people in my subreddit to feel good. I need 10 million followers on it. 10,000. It's not like that anymore. It's interest based, and that makes everything satisfactory, a satisfactory experience online, because you're in a place where you're talking about the thing that you like. And guess what? There's a bunch of other people there. Now, that is happening on Facebook, yes. But just remember, I said Facebook is going to be 50-50, 55 and up. If you want to have a really diverse community of like all ages, then you might want to check out Reddit. You might want to go some other place. But if you're like, well, I only want to talk to people in my age group, then you might want to stay. See, all of these things are layered. All of these, there's so many paths. Where do I want to go?
Mm-hmm.
And it's like that because it used to be, well, you went to Facebook and you saw everything. You saw things that made you angry. You saw things that made you upset. You see news that you don't want to see, the state of the world, all of the bad stuff. Well, guess what? I'm going to find a community about gardening, and maybe it's a local community, and maybe it's the neighborhood app, or maybe it's Facebook, or maybe it's it really doesn't matter where it is, as long as you're in a place where you feel safe and you're talking to people that are talking about the same thing that you're talking about. So that's the part where the mental wellness and well-being comes into place, because you're in a safe community and people are acting right. Reddit has moderators that you can report if somebody comes in and they want to act up, they're not acting right. Hey, you can report them or block them or whatever. So the tools are there. So this is where we're moving. Here's another part of this study: how consumers want brands to show up right now. And I was like, okay, I love this. So what it is that we had this thing where we're talking about authenticity, and then they're saying that the research shows that consumers perceive bold brands to be honest and inspirational more so than trendy, funny, or unfiltered. Now, I love this because I've seen some people go, well, okay, and people being business owners, not influencers, that, I gotta go on and remember the pointing and dancing and the reels. I'm a business, but I gotta come on and because everybody else no. This is saying honest and inspirational. Honest doesn't mean, okay, I'm coming on dancing. I'm coming on doing whatever the trendy thing is that makes me feel uncomfortable. I know a lot of trends. The trends on TikTok is to get ready with me. Like, a lot of women come on and they're not makeup and they talk and they put the makeup on. That might not be your thing, because what's happening is they're looking for honest 50%, inspirational 40%, viral or trendy 35%, humorous 34%, provocative 24%, unhinged pioneering 23%. I know this doesn't add up to 100%, but this is what they're asking. And so you see here how it said more so than trendy, funny, or unfiltered, because everybody's not funny. But the funny memes get the most attention. All the people that tell jokes. If you can't tell jokes, then don't do that. Is my point. You don't have to do whatever the trendy thing is because you're trying to get to the 100 million followers. or the 100 or the 10 million, whatever the number is that you got in your head. And I'm like, well, you got to do what everybody else does. No, you have to be honest, because that comes across, because you're talking to humans. See? And just real quick, because I saw this week that there's a reality TV show with a singer, Ashanti, her and her husband, and they released, I think it's on Peacock, and they were, most reality TV shows, is scripted and you look good, but they have a section in each reality show that anyone you watch, they have it's called confessional, where the producers sit you down on a chair, they stick the camera in your face, and they ask real questions. Now they have to film stuff where, oh, it was a birthday party, oh, a surprise birthday party, ha ha ha. It's very PR. But then they have a section where they sit the person down, they stick the camera in your face, and they ask you real questions. And you might want to, well, okay, I'm not going to show the real whatever's happening, and I'm going to give a canned answer or a PR answer, but your face gives it away. So in this the new show, I think it came out last week or this week, and there's a lot of talk about it on TikTok, and how the relationship, you're exposing your relationship to the world, thinking that I'm putting on a good PR face, but you can't with reality, because that's what they do. So everybody's picking up on the cues of the face, of the unhappiness of the face, even though you're saying, oh, we're very happy. You're looking at a person's face, and when humans, you're looking at another face, you can see the expressions. You could be saying no, you could be saying yes, but your face is saying no, and you're not aware that your face is saying no, but we can see it. So that I was just bringing that up, because it's like you want to put on the PR face of the celebrity, everything's great, but when you do a reality show, and these producers, they're looking for either a gotcha moment, or they need something to what I want to say, get not trend, but it needs to get that people talking, like the Cat Williams going on Shannon Sharp real moment of coming on being honest. Here we go, coming on being honest, but it takes off, and you can't predict that. So this was kind of like the negative side of it, where you think you're going on and saying, oh, we just got married, we're great, we had a baby and everything, but then they ask you real questions to, I don't want to say got you, but they ask questions because they know they're going to get a reaction, a real reaction. This is what they want. That's why it's called reality TV. They want a real reaction, even though it's scripted, because that is the thing that gets social media talking. Do you understand what I'm saying about this reality TV show stuff?
Yep.
So when I looked at this, it's about the honest part. It's because you're thinking you're using media in order to further your agenda, and this is like I'm saying celebrity wise. You think you're going, because it's not a movie where you film the movie and there's an editor and they yell cut and all that and they make you look good. Reality shows, the producers, no, they need a viral moment. They need something that goes, everybody needs to talk about this, because that makes everybody run to see it. That's why I call the Cat Williams effect. It was like he was just sitting there talking, but what he was saying was so real and honest, and it was like it just hit at the right moment. You can't manufacture that. So by businesses trying to go on and say, well, I'm going to do the trends, I'm going to do the pointing and the dancing because everybody else is doing it and getting lots of likes. If that's not your thing, you shouldn't do it. That's the honest part of it. You should, if you're just, I want to give information and I want to talk to the camera and I say what I got to say because I've got 30 years experience, 20 years experience, whatever. Matter of fact, I just remembered there's a guy I've been following for a while. His business is Facebook ads. He's been talking about it for a long time, about Facebook ads. And I remember he was saying he didn't want to go on TikTok because TikTok was dancing. And it was like, well, I'm talking about Facebook ads. So he just got the camera out and just started talking to the camera like this about Facebook ads, about giving his knowledge and information. And this is what you should do. This is what you shouldn't do. And he grew it within a year. And he shared that on threads about how his growth surprised him because he thought TikTok was dancing or jokes or funny memes. Yes, it's all about that, but there's always a space for your business, your topic, as long as you're honest. That's why it's there on top. And I say the thing about the reality show because you're thinking, oh, I'm going to go on and present a face, but we see that you're uncomfortable. We see that you're not happy. We see that. Or if you're genuinely happy, that comes through. That's why they say the camera doesn't lie. Okay. So I just thought that was just really interesting. I was like, I'm loving that. And so this goes into growing demand for serialized content. This goes into what kind of content that the social media users want brands to bring out more. So here we go. Interacting with audiences, 58%. Posting original content series, 57%. Interacting with other companies' brand, 32%. Interacting with influencers, 28%. Jumping on viral means 25%. Here we go. I was just saying about jumping on viral memes and trends and things that other people are doing. That's not what a person that's following your brand or your business want online. They want interaction. So that's what I was saying earlier about if I'm following Coca-Cola, Pepsi, Nike, whoever online, I'm not following them because they're funny or me. I'm like, you need to interact with me because I have a question. I need customer service. I have this, I have that. So if I'm on social media, I'm not going to get off and send you an email. I'm going to go to your Instagram and comment or DM. That's an interaction with audience. I need you to be in there. And it's not about your funny viral meme. It's about I have a concern or a question or issue with your product. See? The next thing is original content. They want you to be original. They want honesty. They want original. Let me go back to this other one. They want honesty. They want inspirational over viral, trendy humors. Provocative. They want it. You recognize me as a customer, as a person online. If I reach out and comment about a concern that I have, I'm not going to comment to a brand and say great job unless you did a great job. Unless you went and great means you went above and beyond to where they are wowed and they go, wow, I got to share this online. That's when you get that.
Right.
Right. Okay. So, but this is the serialized content, and I've been looking at that. I've been thinking about that. That the way content is being created online is that people are wanting, because they're used to reality TV, because they're used to Netflix, because they're used to that, they're looking for serialized, over a one and done kind of piece. So you might want to start thinking about content. How can I make a serial episodic thing out of this instead of a one and done? And that there's a bug. And that kind of helps you when you're making content, because if you do a topic, you can do one topic but break it up into pieces. See? So you don't have to think, well, especially with YouTube, well, I got to do a video about this. Well, what's the next one going to be? Well, you don't have to do that with serialized content. You just have one topic and you just chop it up into pieces. So, well, I can, instead of doing an hour show, you could chop it up into 10 minutes.
Right.
And serialize it. Because that's how people are watching content on YouTube. Even though they are watching a 3-hour podcast like Shannon Sharp, that's an anomaly because there's a celebrity aspect to it. But if you're giving out information, you might want to do breadcrumbs. I always say do breadcrumbs. You want to do pieces because you want to keep them coming back. And YouTube rewards you for that. versus a one and done video of an hour talk about this topic. They might watch the first 20 minutes and go, but the rest of it is good. See?
Yeah, because um, even with that Shannon Sharp thing, people were watching it in chunks. They would watch a little bit and then come back later
Yes.
and pick up. They didn't watch the whole 3 hour thing in one sitting.
Right. That was it. And there's some I still haven't finished, but I want to go back and watch. But it was like, I watched the Cat Williams one though, all the way through, only because that was like the thing, and it was
Right.
so real
And
and honest.
okay, so here's the other thing too. It was funny
Yes,
as well. It was very entertaining and it was very educational and informative, and
and
it held your attention.
yes, and also because if you don't know Cat Williams, it was him. He wasn't like, well, let me go on Shannon Sharp and you know, do a bit, do a comedy skit. No, he was just sitting there drinking and talking about things that people who had followed him before, that he had dropped little things on other interviews. Whereas, he may not have mentioned a comic's name, but here he mentioned, he did the name, he named the names.
Yeah, he named names and
He was
said
like,
stuff.
I'm just going, I don't know why. He just was like, I'm gonna talk. Right timing, right platform. Everything was
Mhm.
right. But if you know of him as a comic, as a person, he's been doing that for years. Or you could go to YouTube and search him, and you'll see all these other interviews where he has dipped and dabbed and talked about little things, but he hasn't gone into details. For some reason, this 3 hour podcast, he went into details, and it was, I like I said, Shannon loves it. He loves it. So you might want to do that. All right, so let's do this social media and customer journey. So I love that they said that, we've said this before, but it bears repeating. All business is social. Their data confirms that brands need to be investing in social as a full funnel channel, not just a tactic. As as an aside, you really should be all in on social media, and that's because everybody's there for all of the things that we just talked about for the last, how long we talked, almost an hour, for those reasons. And everything will change. This will not stay the same in another year, 2 3 or whatever, because of AI and social search. So here they're talking about social search. So here we go. So most people still turn to traditional search engines. Gen Z ranks social as the number one place they turn to, whether they're looking for product reviews, restaurant recommendations, or how-to tutorials. Audiences increasingly want answers from real people, and often in video form. And social networks deliver on both, and YouTube really delivers that. So here we go. Why do we love talking about Gen Z? Because they're the harbinger of things to come for every other generation. What Gen Z turns to when searching for information, social media, number one. They don't go to Google because they're not there. They're not in Google. They're in Instagram. They're in uh, TikTok. They're wherever they are. They search in there. Then next you have traditional search engines at 32%, chat-based AI tools 11%, friends and family 9%. Now, let's flip this on the head and say, if friends and family was on top, that would be like way back when, before digital, before everything. You went to your friends and family first. You asked grandma, grandpa, mom, and dad, because
Yep.
that was your source of information, right?
Yep.
But now here in 2025, it's on the bottom for a lot of reasons, but it's on the bottom. Social
Right.
media is on the top.
Wow. It seems like it's a little faster to get to the social media than it is to get an appointment with grandma, or you gotta wait till people get off work, wait till they wake up, or uh, if they even know or have the information that you're looking for,
Right.
when you can go to social media and type in something and get some answers.
Then we have it. So that was pretty much. Oh, let me make sure I put the link in there.
Mm-hmm.
Let me put the link in the chat because I thought I did put it there. That's there. I think there might be a little bit more. Let me see. Okay, so I'm not. It's not letting me. What's going on?
Okay, so when you go to chat, you have to
Hmm.
put it to stream. Make sure you're in the stream side of it.
Uh. Okay. Oh, yeah. Stream. It says nothing to see here, and then all, and then it says sending messages. What?
Yeah, whatever for that.
Yeah. Why is that? I can't get rid of it.
Sending messages is not
It currently not.
generally
Yeah.
supported. Okay, so send it to put it on Bizchicks TV and let's see what happens.
Okay. No, that's weird.
Okay, let me close that little thing out and bring it back in. Nope, it's still there. Stream. I can see writing a message in the. Gotta find out why that's there.
That's weird. Yeah, I can't. I cannot. All right, I'll put it
Oh,
on. Got it?
I'm trying to see why stream
Yeah, it
and
won't let you do it. It's not a
send
problem.
messages
I'm over
currently
here.
not supported for profiles X, Kick,
Yeah,
and LinkedIn. Okay, that's all of y'all. We understand that. We're not talking about that. I
that's
love
weird.
new stuff
Don't you? I can. I got my phone. I'll put it on my phone. But still, we got to figure out how to do that.
because we did it last week when we said hello to somebody.
Yeah, that's weird.
The messages will start to come in from, and I'm like, okay, that's just weird.
Okay. Hmm. Sorry, guys. We're trying to figure out this new system. But I will put the link in to the Sprout Social um what do we want to call it? Article survey.
Hmm.
And let me see. How do we stop the share? Oh, there we go.
Oh, you can
Okay.
just, yeah, you can
Yeah,
stop
I
this.
was looking for the button for it. Okay.
Interesting.
Yeah,
Well, this was
I don't
really good.
I don't know what's going on, but I will put it in. It's just a link to the article. Well, not just a link, but there's a lot of information there. And I had another survey that I was going to get to, but we'll do that next week, which was had like a whole bunch of pages more about social media. That one was more of a global. So this is more of a U.S. I want to make sure probably a U.S. based, yeah, U.S., U.K., and Australia. I have another one that they do every year from We Are Social. Is global. It's like they do all the countries. They looked at everything. So we'll do that one next week. But I will give you this Sprout Social link.
Okay, very good. And if you want to connect with TJ, just go to terryjohnsononline.com/info to get connected. You can go to Terry Johnson Online everywhere and find her, whether it's Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, I think Pinterest too. Just look for Terry Johnson Online.
Yeah.
Okay. And she'll be happy to help you. Bring some questions. Um, and let's talk about this data that we found, right? It's really fascinating that we have to move over to the social realm and become skillful in how we use the information.
Yeah, because it's always changing. And it's not just Sprout Social. There's a lot of surveys, and people are always looking at what's changing, especially with social media. So it's always changing. And again, it's the middle of the year, so it's time to look at what is going on. So,
Okay, we don't have the telephone books
mm-mm.
anymore.
And you have to know. up to date information on to make sure your strategy is up to date. Like I said about I love the fact that they were talking about the not doing trending stuff on a brand, not doing trending stuff. That means you don't have to do the funny memes, the dancing. You don't have to do what those guys. Those are influencers anyway. They're trying to get more likes and follows, and I always say we're not doing that.
And so I haven't seen a yellow page book come to my house it's been a few years
I was like,
now.
what is that? Like,
Yeah, it used to come. Now it doesn't come.
I haven't seen one in forever.
I haven't seen it. And then also, when's the last time you put an ad in the newspaper? When's the last time you've seen a newspaper?
Aye. There you go. And see, I'm not looking for the news at all. So
right. So, but if you were trying to get in front of somebody,
right.
Social is the way to do it.
Yeah, and if you're on Reddit or any Facebook, whatever platform you're on, if you have it set up correctly, you're going to get. If you go to open the app up, you're going to get whatever the latest thing is. Anyway, like I said, I don't watch the news because I know the news is going to find me. So, and it always finds me.
One last observation that I got from this is that you have to be engaged with the people in your community, because they're going to talk to you, and you have to talk back, because they're the ones that are talking to you. They're the ones that get you, or you.
And there's a lot of silent things going on, because I saw a post, I think yesterday, about something about, I can't remember, but it was basically about what's going on, like nothing's happening. And I'm like, well, things are underground now. Things are under, that's why I use the submarine and the periscope. Things are underground. Nothing has stopped. They're just, your customers or your audience, it's underground somewhere. They went into the bunker. They went into the submarine, and they're like, because it's safer down there. Because things up top, not so great. So they're there. They just feel safer in another community, and it might be a community that you can join, and get them to come to your community if you have one, and if not, you might want to think about it. But it's a lot of work, a community.
Yes. And on that note, you can join the Bizchicks community. You can just text biz to 33777, or you can go to bizchicks.net. However you get here, we appreciate you, and we invite you to become a part.
And you're not going to get bombarded with a bunch of text messages. That's not what's going to happen.
We hate spam, and so we don't do it.
No spam. Spam free. Just relevant information when you need it. That's how it should be.
And that is our conversation and for today on Marketing Talks. Thank you so much for tuning in. Reach out, leave your questions, and we'll be happy to help. Thank you. Thank you. Talk to you soon.
Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Thanks.
Thank you for tuning in today. We trust you've learned something to help you build a more profitable business and take the hassle out of your hustle. See you next time.